Going into number 3. What's number 3? The walk over the talk. This is big time, especially in the leadership game, because a lot of people try to have their talk be greater than their walk. And I really wanted to talk about this, and I was really excited to talk about this because what I said last video was I said this is something that you're going to be able to use in your everyday life. And here's why this is so important. It's because your talk, people are watching on a constant basis. Your talk is not enough. Like just saying you're going to do something is not enough to create the success that you're looking for. I know I used to do it, so trust me, I understand. I used to say, man, I'm going to get this done. Man, this is what I'm going. I used to set the great goals. Man, these goals are amazing and people used to cheer us on. Wow, you got these great goals. But if you're not achieving those goals, then your walk and your talk is not matching up. And if it doesn't match up, then you have a problem. Here's why you have a problem. And here's the reason why you need to walk. Reputation. It's all about reputation. If you don't walk, if you don't do the things that you're saying you're doing, then you're decreasing your reputation with the people. And if you decrease your reputation with the people, guess what happens? They have a lack of belief in what you're doing. And if they have a lack of belief in what you're doing, guess what happens? You continue to decrease your reputation. And if you continue to decrease your reputation, guess what happens? They have a lack of belief in what you're doing. So it's a cycle that can continue to go down or can continue to go up based off of what you do. And your reputation is so key as a leader because your reputation is what allows people to follow you. When you have the reputation of, like we said in the last video, a reputation of a winner, then people want to follow a winner. If you have the reputation of a loser, then people don't want to follow a loser. So you have to have your reputation set up properly, and that is going to happen by having the mentality of walking over your talking. You're not just saying this is what we're about to do. This is what we're going to do. This is what is about to happen. And then year after year after year, it's not happening. If that happens, then what's happening is your reputation is being decreased. Now, we've all messed up, right? We've all tried to be the best leader that we possibly could, didn't realize that we were making errors, myself included, and so we try to figure out, all right, what do I need to do to fix it? So if you're in a situation where your reputation is low, the people around you don't believe, then the question is, okay, well, what do I do? How do I make this stuff work? How do I make my walk stronger than my talk? Because that's what you need to do. If your reputation is low, you've got to find a way to make your walk stronger than your talk. So how do you do that? The first thing you need to do is set realistic goals. Realistic goals is so important to your reputation and to your walk. Here's why. So many people set these large goals, and these goals are so large that even when they make progress, it doesn't look like they made progress. Here's what I mean. Let's say you say, hey, I want to get to this level in my business. And you're on this level in your business. And you want to get there. So it takes you say, hey, in 6 months, we're going to get to this level. And in 6 months, you don't get to this level, but you get to this level. Now, that is progress. But that progress is not looked at as progress. You know why? Because you didn't achieve the ultimate goal. So if you set this goal, but the goal is so high and you didn't achieve it, then people around you are going to start to say, well, I guess we didn't achieve the goal. Well, that might be okay. That happens once. Then you set the goal to be higher, and then you get here, and you're making progress, but the people around you are saying we're not hitting the goal, though. So what you should have been excited about because of the progress that you made, you're no longer excited about because you didn't hit the ultimate goal. Remember what we talked about the last video about winning, right? You didn't win. And when you don't win, reputation takes a hit. And the more your reputation takes a hit, the more your belief takes a hit. So now most people are looking at you and they're saying, what you say is not congruent with what you're doing. And it seems like, man, give us a break. We're making progress. But you set them up for failure in the beginning because you didn't set realistic goals. So that progress in the beginning, look, I can tell you I'm going to be a billionaire. And that is possible. But if I tell you that I'm going to be a billionaire by the end of the year, that's not probable. So many people are saying, well, what are you trying to say? Because the saying is, don't be realistic at all. Don't worry about being realistic. That's true if you don't have to lead a group of people. If you're on your own, look, set goals that are, even with that is I would be a little bit testy on. But set goals, set big goals. Hairy audacious goals is what they call them, right? But I'm a little bit disagreeing on that. I say set goals that actually you have a belief that will stretch you past your comfort zone, but something that you actually believe that you can achieve. Because I believe that a person won't go on a path of a goal if they don't see themselves completing the journey at the end. So you gotta have a belief level at least. But then you also have to be realistic. So even if you hear people saying, don't worry about being realistic, that's a little bit of a mental pitfall, because if you do that, then the people around you are seeing you set these huge goals and they're seeing you not achieve. And the more they see you not achieve, then it's hard for them to believe in you, and your reputation takes a hit, and then they don't want to follow you as a leader. So you don't want to have that mistake where you're setting these large goals that you don't believe that you can hit. And even though they're possible, they're not probable. And you've got to set probable goals that are stretching you past your comfort zone, but not stretching you into the realm of possibility, where you increase your chances of winning. Remember in the last video I said, you can't build a habit of winning by losing. And that's so true. You can't build a habit of winning by losing. So don't set yourself up for failure. Increase your probability of success. Make your probability of failure lower than your probability of success. Now, you want to take risks. That's why you stretch yourself, and maybe you make your probability of success 80% or your probability of success 60%. But don't make your probability of success 10%, 5%. 2%. If I say I want to be a billionaire by tomorrow, that probability is like 1%. You gotta be smart. You gotta be strategic. So many people live in this la-la land where they say just be positive, think about it, and it's just gonna come to pass. Well, it doesn't work like that. You can use your mind to create success for yourself, but you gotta use your mind in a proper way where you understand that there are things that back up those mentalities that you create in your mind. And what you need to do is back them up by hard foundations. And that hard foundation is setting first a realistic goal that your team can galvanize with, they can put strategies behind, and actually go out there and achieve. And when they achieve, instead of getting to this level and saying we haven't done anything because we didn't get to this level, they can get to this level and say, wow, that was our goal and we won. And now you built the habit of winning. So you built momentum because your walk was over your talk. Realistic goals. Number 2, insane dedication. You gotta be insanely dedicated to the goals that you set up. You gotta say to yourself that yes, I set a goal. Yes, I talked about a goal, but I'm dedicated to put the walk in and actually do the work necessary in order to get to the goal. So many people are setting goals, but they're not putting the work in because they're not dedicated to the goal. They're setting it, but they're not dedicated to it. Dedication is different than intent. Intent says, I intend to do it, but there's something that can get in the way of intent. Like the old story, there's 3 birds sitting on a pole, and 2 of those birds decided that they wanted to fly away. How many birds are left on the pole? Some people will say, well, 1 bird is left on the pole. But no, all 3 are left because they just decided, they intended to fly away, but they never did. So you can't just intend. You've got to be dedicated to actually making a move. You got to be dedicated and not just saying, here's my strategy, because that's what the goals are. Here's my strategy, but here's my execution. That's what the dedication is. Then you have to let your testimony tell itself. Look, so many people make this mistake. They call it a testimony for a reason. Before you get to the testimony, you have to go through a test. And most people are in the test, they're going through the trials, and they're going through the tribulations, and they're going through the situations, but they don't understand as a leader, your obligation to your team is not to fill them up with all of the bad stuff that's happening in your organization. Because your number 1 job as a leader is to be focused on achieving so that you can increase your reputation, increase the belief, and increase the results, right? So let your testimony tell itself. Don't worry about trying to get a pity party or have people feel sorry for you because you haven't achieved to the level that you want to achieve. Don't worry about. Tell a testimony when the test is over. Tell a testimony when you've gotten past and gotten over the hurdles. Tell a testimony when you succeeded. That's when people want to hear when you succeeded. They don't want to hear that you failed. They don't want to hear about your problems when they're going through their own problems, right? Or they want to hear about something that's going to inspire them to move forward, not to discourage them to stay in their same place. And when you start telling your testimony before you actually pass the test, people start to look at you and say, well, you haven't made it through. You're still in it. You're still in the problems, you're still in the situations, you're still in the hurts, you're still in the pains, and you're trying to talk your way out of it instead of walking your way out of it. You just gotta put the action, put your head down, forget about talking about it, and just do it. Make it happen. Be dedicated, make it happen. And here's the next thing. Take massive action. Once you're dedicated and you've already decided that you're not gonna sit in a pity party and start talking about your testimony before you've actually passed the test, then you take massive action. You put your head down and you go to work. Look, there's a great thing about work. People are inspired by people who are willing to do what's necessary to create success. And as a leader, you're doing the 10% more to be 100% better. You're doing the small things that most people are not doing, and that's what's making you better. When we say massive action, some people look at that and say, man, well, what does that actually look like? You have to define what that is for you and your business and your life and your family and your situations, your organizations, whatever you are doing, you got to figure out what massive action is for you. But whatever it is, it's usually not a lot more than other people. Usually it's the 10% more. It's turning off the TV for an hour more than the average person does. It's actually spending that time and reading a book. It's actually going to the events and learning from the people that you need to learn from. It's actually taking the time and getting wisdom from a friend. It's actually putting in the extra, staying up the extra hour, or maybe going to sleep the extra hour later. It's about doing the little things. There's 1 degree difference between hot water and steam. Only one. And that's all you need to do. You just got to do a little bit more than everybody else. If everybody else is doing a certain level, just go a little bit higher. Do a little bit more. That's what massive action is all about. It's just doing more than the rest of the competition. Because the rest of the competition, they get to a certain level and then they pass out. They get to a certain level and they say, I can't do anymore. And you got to get to that certain level and push through the hurts, push through the pains. It's just like when you're lifting weights. When you're in the gym and lifting weights, you can lift and you can lift, but the real gain happens at the time when the tension in the muscles is tightening up on you and it seems like you can't do one more, but you push and you stretch yourself to get one more when you know that you probably couldn't have done that one more. That's what massive action looks like. It seems like it's not a lot, but it's doing that one more, it's doing that 2 more. Where most people will stop at 10, you stopped at 13. Where most people stopped at 13, you stopped at 17. See, that's the massive action. It's only 2 or 3 or 4 more, but it makes you 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100% better. So massive action. And then the last thing, go out there and achieve. When you want your walk to be stronger than your talk, all you have to do is achieve. So going back to what I said earlier about the people who might have had a lack of reputation, you got to go through this process yourself. Sometimes you're trying to re-engage the people who've already lost respect for you and belief in you. You can't do that because people usually don't give you a second chance. And if they do give you a second chance, it's because you've earned it. And so you got to go out there and earn the second chance to build your reputation back up. You got to earn why you're worthy of being followed. And the way you do that, set a realistic goal, be dedicated to that goal, forget about talking about the test, don't talk about it, just do it. Take that massive action, 10% more, 100% better, and then achieve. Once you achieve and hit the goal, now your reputation increases, your belief increases, the people around you believe more, and you continue that process. And the more you do this, and the more you achieve, and the more you hit those incremental goals, I said I was going to do this, I did it. I said I was going to do this, I did it. I said I was going to do this, I did it. I said my talk was going to be here, and my walk was here. And you constantly have that growing within yourself, where your talk and your walk is equaling up. And the more you do that, reputation increases, belief increases, your walk has to be over your talk. So let me ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being great, 1 being you have to work on it, where you are as far as your walk being over your talk. Are you doing more talking than you're doing walking? Are you doing more promises and less achievement of those promises? Are you saying you're going to get somewhere and setting goals, but you're not actually achieving them? Where you are in your walk versus your talk? That's a question. Scale yourself 1 to 10.